for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lucas Salvador, and I am the founder of the Internationally Trained Dentists Association of Canada. I am also the director of the Internationally Trained Dentists Association of Canada, and I welcome you to our first ITD AOC Q&A live stream. So the intent of these Q&A sessions is to provide valuable content to ITDs. Essentially, we get a lot of questions coming in. A lot of the questions tend to repeat themselves, so we're trying to answer those questions for you in as many formats as possible. So based on what we've seen so far, it seems like a lot of ITDs prefer the Facebook platform, and they also prefer the video format. So we're going to try and get these answers to these questions that you may have to you in the video format in these live Q&A sessions. If you submit them in comments on Facebook, or if you submit them to us via info@itdaoc.ca, we'll try to answer those questions directly in writing, and we'll also compile the answers to your questions, and we'll put them in the ITD AOC website under the blog session. We'll compile the answers to the questions and also put them there. So the whole intention behind this is essentially to serve you and whatever questions you may have. So the way I would like this to go, and this will evolve depending on your needs, but essentially I have questions that are prepared, questions that have been submitted to me previously, and then if there are any questions that you want to submit live, you can do so by writing them in the comments. Ultimately, it's whatever you prefer. Don't feel like you need to attend these Q&A sessions live. Obviously, we're all really busy, so that wouldn't be an expectation. This video is going to be posted on all our Q&A sessions are going to be posted on our Facebook page, and each question, if it's deemed an important, valuable question, will be clipped and posted as an individual video on our Facebook page. So don't feel the need that you have to attend these live. Like I said before, you could submit your questions beforehand, and then if your question isn't answered in this Q&A session, it will be answered in a future Q&A session. This is something that we're going to try to do at least on a weekly basis, and it's something that we're going to try to keep each of them short, like in the 15 to 20 minute range. We don't expect everyone to have to sit and go through long videos. We're obviously busy. We want to provide the information to you in as condensed and valuable way as possible. So for those of you who are live, thank you. Like I said, if you have a question to submit that you want answered live, post it in the comments. If not, I'll use this first Q&A session to give all of you kind of a general overview of what's happening with the organization, why the organization exists, because this is a common question that we get. um, why ITD AOC? Why does it exist? Um, so the goal of an association, the role of an association is essentially to serve its members. It's as simple as that. So the question that follows up is, why do ITDs need an association? Why are our needs different than the population of, like, the dentists in general? Well, if you're an ITD, it becomes fairly obvious very quickly that we have particular issues and concerns that are unique. And the main issue that we faced as internationally trained dentists relates to the equivalency process and the difficulties that we face relating to the equivalency process. And not to go into all those details right now, basically, from what we hear from our members and other ITDs, we, as an association that represents ITDs, must advocate for the improvement of the equivalency process for ITDs. That is our major focus. That is our major initiative right now. That, from all the conversations we've had with our members and other ITDs, is the most valuable way in which we can serve the community of ITDs. And this has been an issue that has been ongoing for ever since the beginning of the equivalency process, and individuals have tried over the years to implement these changes, whether it be through reaching out to their NP, reaching out to the NDB. Many individuals have tried, but never before has there been an organization that officially represents you and your needs, who will advocate and fight for you. And that is ultimately what our goal is. We are ITDs. I'm an ITD. So I was, for those of you who don't know me, I was born in Canada, but I actually decided to study abroad. And it's not a decision I regret. I received a world-class education. But then these are the issues you deal with coming back and trying to be recognized in Canada. So that's ultimately why the association exists. Right now, our main goal is to advocate for the improvement of the equivalency process for all of us, and ultimately, if we are able to achieve our goal of improving that, that will be the best way that we can improve the lives of ITDs. Long term, our goals are to provide ITDs with goods and services. On top of that, our role as an advocate, we're reaching out to suppliers to work out deals to benefit you. We're looking into the creation of continuing education courses, things of that nature, to provide you with valuable content. But that's all stuff that will happen kind of more in the long run. Now we think our main goal, our main vision is to improve attempt to advocate to improve the equivalency process for you. So that is my basic intro. So our first live question is about the ACS registration for new candidates in December 2021. So any news? Do we have any news on that? No. What do we know so far? We know that they are guaranteeing the individuals who were registered, going back all the way to June 2020. So that is a good step, I would say, that they are guaranteeing everyone. If you do the math, we're talking about roughly somewhere in the neighborhood of 350 people that they're guaranteeing spots to. We are currently in the process of reaching out to the NDEB in order to set up kind of a direct line of communication with them to discuss these issues. So far, their responses to us have been a little slow. I won't go into more detail than that, but in terms of what we are trying to do for the December ACS exam is, one, we want to get the NDEB to ensure that they have a backup plan for those who are currently registered. So what do I mean by that? The past few cycles, there have been last minute changes because of the COVID outbreaks and the randomness of it, and canceling examinations last minute. It appears that they haven't put together contingency plans for any of these cycles before. They haven't prepared for the worst case scenario. So if you look at COVID cases right now, especially in Alberta, where it's going a little bit crazy, the question is, do they have a backup plan if they're unable to host an examination there? And what is that backup plan? Where are those participants going? It is unclear whether or not they have set up those backup plans for the people who are already registered. So that is one thing that we want to push them on, because we don't want to be put in another scenario where people have prepared for 5 months and then get canceled last minute. For those of you who have experienced that already, which is a lot of you, it's an awful feeling. So we don't want to see that. In terms of new candidates, the NDB hasn't released any information about how many open spots there are, but it's fair to speculate that there are some. There are going to be a number of people who are on their third attempt and are going to want to wait until the new ACS format. It's unclear how many people are in that scenario. So it's unclear how many open spots there would be. So what we want to do is, because it would be very easy for the NDEB to have those open spots and not fill them. So we want to push the NDEB, if there are these open spots, that they do open up the registration to new candidates. Like I said, they haven't announced how many open spots they are or might be, but like I said, speculating, there is or should be some, because there will be people who are on their third attempt and don't want to do it this cycle. They would want to wait until the unlimited attempts kick in the new format. So that is something we're working on, and something that we're going to try to get an answer on. Just just so you know, that's the scenario that I'm in. So I'm waiting for the ACS and unable to get a spot because they're not opening it up to new candidates. Yeah. Did that answer your question? If you want to comment, if it did. If there's anyone else who has a live question, otherwise I have another prepared question from someone who's submitted it previously. Okay, so I'll move on to the another submitted question. Another question that we commonly get is about membership. For those who don't know, we if you go to our itdaoc.ca website, you can sign up to become an official member of the organization. So the question becomes, what do we get if we sign up to become a member? Like, what are the benefits of membership? So, basically, if you become a member, you have more of an input on the direction of the organization. Obviously, we listen to all ITDs. We aim to represent all ITDs, but obviously we appreciate and value people who make the commitment to become a member, because it really helps us. One, it helps us financially to support us and our endeavors, because there are aspects to running the organization that we incur expenses, and the other aspect to which it's important to us is it goes to show us how many people are truly committed to our goal to advocate for the improvement of the equivalency process. So becoming a member is not mandatory, but it is extremely helpful to pursuing our ultimate goal, which is helping you. And the membership fee is $100, which is not a small sum of money. It's a large amount of money, but it's a small fraction compared to how much we all end up spending on the equivalency exams. So if you look at it as an investment, if we are able to improve the equivalency process for you, in the grand scheme of things, our goal is to save you money. So, and in the long run, as we work to create more content for you, whether it be product deals with suppliers or CE courses, there will be content that will only be available to members. But for the time being, your membership helps us in our role to advocate on your behalf to improve the equivalency process. Okay, so there's a question about updates on the new ACS format. No, we haven't received any specific updates yet. It should be coming soon. We're expecting it. It should be coming this month. We know that it will involve more OSCE style situations, which is I know some people have been concerned about that, but for now I would remain neutral until we see what it's like. I know there's also concern about removing changing it so that there's no ease, that you can't get any ease. I would remain neutral about that as well until we see what the final format is going to be. Um, for those of us who have been preparing for this ACS format and then having to change and deal with a new format, I think it's unlikely that overall it's going to change so drastically that all the training that we've done so far would be um, lost or not valuable. I highly doubt that. Um, Likely there'll be a couple of additions that will require a little bit more training with the OSCE related stuff, but um, I again, this is speculation because they haven't released anything, but I would guess that the largely the components of the examination that exist already will remain similar. That's what I would guess. But we can have this discussion again once they release the new format, and hopefully that will be this month. At least that appears to be what they're saying. They're going to release it soon. Yeah, I hope that answered your question. Yeah. Anything else? Is there anything else that? Remember, if there's any if there's a question that you think of but don't if you think of it after, you can always post it in the comments and I can answer it at a future Q&A session. So don't feel like you necessarily have to attend these live. You can always post it in the comments, or if you're part of our Facebook group, you could post it there, and I will answer them at a future Q&A sessions. I'll try to do these weekly. Okay. So if I'll save previously submitted questions for another time. If there's anyone else that wants to submit a question live, I'll answer it live. Otherwise, we can continue this at a future date, whatever you prefer. Is there anyone else who has questions now? It seems like the questions seem to be centered around the ACS. So, are there any more ACS related questions? If you want me to expand on ACS related thing, we could talk about the new ACS center. The NDB hasn't released a lot of information about the new ACS center, and this is one of the areas of concern for us. Initially they announced early 2022, then they said June 2022. Now it's even that is a concern. Realistically, we're probably looking at late 2022, at least from what I've read. So this is one of the areas that we would like to get a straight answer from the NDB, because we are concerned that the ACS center is going to be delayed, and that they are not going to host the ACS exam in its current format June next year. Doesn't appear that they're planning to do that, which is going to put us in a position where who knows how long we're going to have to wait until the next sitting of the ACS exam. So in our opinion, that is not acceptable. So that is one area that we want to get an answer from them for. So, yeah. Okay. Anything else? I don't see anyone submitting any other questions. I'll give it a minute if you want to submit a question, but if not, essentially what I'd like to say to wrap up is, I'd like to restate that our goal as an organization ultimately is to serve you, the ITD, and right now our main goal is to advocate for the improvement of the equivalency process. That's what we're working towards. So the main way that you can help out is to like and share our social media posts and our pages, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Getting this message out is very important in our role as an advocate. The other way you can help out is to become a member. So you can go to itdaoc.ca. Once you get there, there's a membership tab. Click on it. You can sign up and become a member. This helps us because it provides us with the funds ultimately to do the work that we're doing. So I'd encourage you to do that. And please, if you can, give me some feedback on this type of Q&A format, whether you like it, how we can improve it. This is our attempt to create valuable content for you guys. We're gonna try to improve it as we go. This is our first attempt, so please let me know how you think we can improve this for you, how we can do better next time. We'll try to do this weekly at least. So submit your questions to in the comments, either in like a current Facebook event or future Facebook event. Submit it in the comments, or you can submit it to info@itdaoc.ca, or you could submit them live, whichever way you prefer. It's up to you. So before we go, I'll answer this one last question and then we'll wrap up for today. So the last question is there any chance to change the rules on like an unlimited ACJ exam? So this has been a point that has been brought up many times. It is one that the NDB has not brought up, but is one that we are going to try and change. If you think about the logic behind why they would make the ACS and exam with unlimited attempts, it's because it's a high stress exam with an element of subjectivity to it. So the reason why you would make that unlimited attempts is to reduce the stress of the exam scenario, and if an individual fails for a reason that falls within within a subjective limit, the individual ultimately has an attempt to do it again. If you look, there's been many court cases against the NDB relating to the ACS, and I think making it unlimited attempts was one of the ways that the NDB are trying to get rid of these court cases against them. That's just me speculating. The ACJ exam, I think if you use that logic, is very similar. It's a high stress exam that has a huge element of subjectivity to it. When we're talking about judgment, you know, the problem with the judgment exam is that there's a lot of gray areas. And because there's so many gray areas, the exam becomes more about exam taking skills than your actual knowledge on the exam. It's of the three exams, it's probably one of the more difficult ones because of this huge gray area when we're talking about judgment. So I think there is a very strong argument to make the ACJ exam unlimited attempts. Has it been brought up by the NDEB yet? No, but it's something that we want to bring up to the NDEB, specifically for the ACJ exam. We think that should be unlimited as well. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Okay, we're half an hour in. I think that's good for today, unless anyone else wants to submit a question. But like I said, if you have any questions going forward, you can submit it in the comments. You can submit it to info@itdaoc.ca, or you can submit them to us live. These videos will appear on our Facebook page if you want to rewatch them, or if you want to send them to a friend who wasn't able to watch it live. If you want to support us going forward, the best ways you could do that is to like and share our social media content on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Or you can become a member at, if you go to itdaoc.ca, click on the membership tab and sign up to become a member. Those are the best ways you can support us. So if you are one of the people who like to be part of these Facebook live streams, let me know what times work good for you. We'll move it around, and we will find a time that's best suited for the people who want to appear live. Thank you for those of you who did decide to show up live. I really appreciate it, and we'll do this again next week. Remember to submit your questions, and if we didn't answer your question this time, we'll answer it next time. So thank you, and good night, everyone.